A tough-looking group of hairy bikers are riding when they see a girl about to jump off a bridge, so they stop. The leader, a big burly man, gets off his bike and says, "What are you doing?" "I'm going to commit suicide," she says. While he doesn't want to appear insensitive, he also doesn't want to miss an opportunity, so he asks, "Well, before you jump, why don't you give me a kiss?" She does, and it is a long, deep, lingering kiss. After she's finished, the tough, hairy biker says, "Wow, that was the best kiss I've ever had. That's a real talent you're wasting. You could be famous. Why are you committing suicide?" "My parents don't like me dressing up like a girl." A priest is walking through King's Cross, a rough area of town, when a woman approached him and says, "Do you want a naughty? $200. "Certainly not," he mutters and hurries on. Soon he passed near another woman who said, $200 for a naughty. Interested? "No, thank you," he replies flusteredly. As he comes near a third woman, she again offers him a naughty for $200, which he of course refuses. Arriving back at the abbey, he happens upon the Mother Superior. Curiosity gets the better of him, and he asks, "Mother, what's naughty?" She replies, $200, just like in King's Cross. A man and his wife enter a dentist's office. The wife says, "I need a tooth pulled. No gas or Novocaine. I'm in a terrible hurry. Just pulled the tooth as quickly as possible." "You're a brave woman," says the dentist. "Now, show me which tooth it is." The wife turns to her husband and says, "Open your mouth and show the dentist which tooth it is, dear." A Florida man dies and goes to a waiting area for his final destination. As he awaits, he spots his best friend within the crowd and cannot believe it. He approaches his buddy and starts a conversation. "Cooch, is that you, buddy? Holy shit, it is you! What are you doing here?" "Hey, Willie," says the man with barely any expression on his face. "What are you doing here, Cooch? I just saw you in the morning and you were fine." "Well, I died, Willie. Why the else would I be here? How about you? What's your story?" "Well, Cooch, I was at work when I overheard someone say that my wife was cheating on me while I worked. So I got in the car, drove home, and kicked the door open. I came in hot. You should have seen it. I ran upstairs to my bedroom where my wife was lying in bed. I looked in the closet, looked in the other rooms, looked in the kitchen, the garage, went to the shed. There was nobody there, Cooch. I couldn't believe it, and I started laughing hysterically. Somehow I was laughing so hard that I choked on my saliva and just dropped dead." "Well, isn't that something?" replied Cooch. "What about you, Cooch? What the hell happened to you?" "I died of hypothermia, Willie." "Hypothermia? We lived in Florida, Cooch. How the hell did you die like that?" "The fridge, Willie. You forgot to check the goddamn fridge." A woman goes into the local newspaper office to see that the obituary for her recently deceased husband is published. After the editor informs her that the fee for the obituary is 50 cents a word, she pauses, reflects, and then says, "Well then, let it read, Fred Brown died." Confounded at the woman's thrift, the editor stammers that there is a 7-word minimum for all obituaries. The woman pauses again, counts on her fingers, and replies, "In that case, Fred Brown died, 1983 pickup for sale." 2 policemen were sitting in the office. One of them kept sniffing and tasting his nails. The second one asked, "What are you doing?" "I'm trying to figure out if this thing under my nails is shit or mud." The second one said, "Let me see," and proceeded to taste it. "It's definitely shit, man. I wondered why there would be mud in my ass." One of the British national daily newspapers was asking readers, what does it mean to be British? Some of the emails were hilarious, but this one from a Swiss was a winner. Being British is about driving in a German car to an Irish pub for a Belgian beer, then traveling home, grabbing an Indian curry or a Turkish kebab on the way to sit on a Swedish furniture and watch American shows on a Japanese TV. He buys a holiday home in Spain, skis in France, fancies Swedish birds, and has a Romanian au pair. And the most British thing of all? Suspicious of anything foreign. A man accidentally elbows a woman's chest as she is standing behind him in a hotel lobby. The man apologizes profusely and says, "If your heart is as soft as your chest, I know you'll forgive me." To which the woman replied, "If your tool is as hard as your elbow, I'm in room 318. In an investment seminar, a man saw a beautiful lady and fell madly in love instantly. He proposes to her, but being a financial planning expert, she asks about his background. He said, "Well, I am an ordinary man today, but in a few months after my ailing father dies, I will inherit $30 million. The lady was deeply impressed and they exchanged their business cards. And within a month, the lady walks into his house as his stepmother." One day, at Area 51, a radar tech spots a single-engine plane on final approach to the secret Air Force base. The plane touches down and is immediately surrounded by armed guards. The plane is impounded and the pilot is whisked off for questioning. The pilot claims that he had been flying from Las Vegas, got lost, and nearly ran out of fuel, so he put his plane down at the first runway he saw. After extensive background checks, it is proven that the pilot isn't a spy, and he is set to be released the following morning. Before he is allowed to leave, he is given the "you didn't see anything" talk and is told that under absolutely no circumstances is he allowed to tell anyone where he was or what he saw. The Air Force fuels up the man's plane, gives him a proper heading to get back to Las Vegas, and sends him on his way. Later that day, the man's plane is again spotted getting ready to land at Area 51. This time, there are 2 people in the plane. When the plane touches down, it is immediately surrounded by guards again. As soon as it comes to a stop, the man hops out and yells, "Do whatever you want to me, but somebody has to tell my wife where I was last night." Billy Bob walks into a bar and says, "Bartender, 1 round for everyone, on me." The bartender says, "Well, it seems you're in a really good mood tonight, Billy Bob says, "Oh, you can bet on it. I just got hired by the city to go around and remove all the money from parking meters. I start on Monday." The bartender congratulates him and proceeds to pour the round. Monday evening arrives. Billy Bob comes back into the bar and says, "Bartender, 2 rounds for everyone, on me." The bartender says, "Well now, if you're so happy just over having this new job, I can just imagine how happy you'll be when you get your paycheck." Billy Bob looks at the bartender with a wondrous look on his face, pulls out a handful of quarters from his pocket, and says, "You mean they'll pay me too?" A guy gets home early from work and hears strange noises coming from the bedroom. He rushes upstairs to find his wife naked on the bed, sweating and panting. "What's up?" he says. "I'm having a heart attack," cries the woman. He rushes downstairs to grab the phone, but just as he's dialing, his 4-year-old son comes up and says, "Daddy, Daddy, Uncle Ted's hiding in your closet and he's got no clothes on." The guy slams the phone down and storms upstairs into the bedroom, past his screaming wife, and rips open the wardrobe door. Sure enough, there is his brother, totally naked, cowering on the closet floor. "You rotten mongrel," says the husband. "My wife's having a heart attack and you're running around naked scaring the kids." A Redditor with 3 sons remarries. The boys have never had a stepmother before, so they spend 19 hours researching Pornhub to learn how stepmother/son relationships work. When their father goes to work the next day, the first son starts furiously jerking off with his bedroom door wide open. His new mother sees him, screams, and runs away. He chases after her, yelling, "You're making this weird." She runs into the kitchen where the second son has installed a new sink. He stands up just as she enters and rips off his overalls. The stepmom screams and runs out, now having two of the boys chasing her. When she gets to the living room, there is the third son holding a pizza box. He opens the box, and of course, his is sticking through a hole in the box. The mother runs again and manages to fight off all the boys, trapping them in the bathroom. When the dad gets home, he asks his new wife how her day was. She says, "Terrible. I had to beat off all your sons." He pauses and asks in a confused voice, "All three of them broke their arms?" A salesman rings the doorbell, and little Johnny answers. Salesman, "Can I see your dad?" Johnny, "No, he's in the shower." Salesman, "What about your mother? Can I see her?" "Nope, she's in the shower too." Salesman, "Do you think they'll be out soon?" Johnny, "Doubt it. When my dad asked me for the Vaseline, I gave him super glue instead." A man walks into a bar and orders a glass of whiskey. He swallows it and looks in his shirt pocket. He orders another glass of whiskey, swallows it, and looks into his small pocket. He orders a third shot and does the same. After the sixth shot, he asks the bartender for the bill, pays, and starts to walk out. Curiosity gets the better of the bartender, and he says to the guy, "Excuse me, but I noticed that every time you drank a shot, you kept looking into your pocket. I was wondering what's in your pocket." The guy slurs, "Well, I have a picture of my wife in my pocket. I keep drinking until she starts to look good."
My mate broke his leg, so I went to see him at home. I walked in, and what do I see? He had two gorgeous older sisters, and they're twins. I'd never met them before. Apparently they live at the uni and were visiting. Anyway, so I went up to my friend's room. "How are you, mate?" "Yeah, I'm okay, but do me a favour, mate. Go fetch my socks from downstairs. My feet are freezing," he tells me. So I rushed downstairs and found his two sisters perched up on the couch, right where his socks lay. I say to him, "Your brother has sent me down here to have sex with both of you." They responded, "Get away with you. Prove it." I shouted upstairs, "Hey mate, both of them?" He shouted back, "Of course both of them. What's the point in fucking one?"
A man walked out to the street and caught a taxi just going by. He got into the taxi, and the cabbie said, "Perfect timing. You're just like Sean." Who? Sean Donovan. He's a guy who did everything right all the time, like my coming along when you needed a cab. Things happen like that to Sean Donovan every single time. There's always a few clouds over everybody. Not Sean Donovan. He was a terrific athlete. He could have won the Grand Slam at tennis. He could golf with the pros. He sang like an opera baritone and danced like a Broadway star. And you should have heard him play the piano. He was an amazing guy. Sounds like he was something really special. There's more. He had a memory like a computer. He remembered everybody's birthday. He knew all about wine, which foods to order, and which fork to eat them with. He could fix anything. Not like me. I change a fuse and the whole street blacks out. But Sean Donovan, he could do everything right. Wow, some guy then. He always knew the quickest way to go in traffic and avoid traffic jams. Not like me. I always seem to get stuck in them. But Sean Donovan, he never made a mistake, and he really knew how to treat a woman and make her feel good. He would never answer her back even if she was in the wrong, and his clothing was always immaculate, with his shoes highly polished too. He was the perfect man. He never made a mistake. No one could ever measure up to Sean Donovan. An amazing fellow. How did you meet him? Well, I never actually met Sean. He died. I'm married to his damned widow.
A guy walks into a small tech repair shop and loudly announces, "Free phone repairs for me, free repairs for you, and free repairs for everyone here today." People cheer. Phones get fixed, screens shine. When it's time to leave, the guy heads for the door. "Hey," the shop owner shouts, "what about the bill?" "I don't have any money," the guy says casually. Furious, the owner drags him outside and gives him a serious beating. The next day, the same guy walks back into the shop and says, "Free phone repairs for me, free repairs for you, and free repairs for everyone here." The owner thinks no one could be dumb enough to pull this twice, so he fixes everyone's phones again. When the guy heads for the door, "What about the bill?" the owner demands. "I still don't have any money." Once again, the owner beats him and throws him out. On the third day, the guy returns and says, "Free phone repairs for me and free repairs for everyone here." The owner squints and says, "What, no free repair for me this time?" The guy replies, "Nah, you get aggressive when your phone works too well."
A wife accused her husband of cheating. One morning, a man was quietly reading his newspaper when his wife crept up behind him and whacked him on the back of his head. Shocked, the man asked, "What was that for?" The wife replied, "What was that piece of paper in your pants pocket with the name Mary written on it?" "Oh, honey, remember when I went to the horse races 2 weeks ago? Mary was the name of one of the horses I bet on," the man replied. The wife looked satisfied and apologized before kissing him and walking away. 3 days later, he was sitting in his chair reading again when his wife returned. This time, she slapped him across the face. The man held his cheek and asked, "What was that for this time?" The wife answered, "Your horse called." A married couple was sitting at a table at their wife's high school reunion when an incredibly drunk woman slumped over across from them. "Do you know that woman?" the wife asked. "Yes," the husband replied. "That's my ex-girlfriend. She started drinking right after we broke up and hasn't been sober since." "Good Lord," the wife replied. "Who knew it was possible to celebrate for that long?" A married man buys a rare talking parrot, claims he's one of a kind. Only catch? No legs. "How do you stay on the perch?" the man asks. "Natural talent," says the bird. "I just wrap my endowment around it." They become best mates, chatting every night. One day, he arrives home and the parrot says, "Bit awkward. The delivery guy came round. Your wife let him in." They started kissing. Then it got handsy, shirts off, nightgown up. The husband, horrified, shouts, "What happened next?" The parrot shrugs, "No idea. I got a boner and fell off my perch." A young widow would come to her husband's grave weekly to water the flowers. Then, every time, she would walk away with her back turned. A young man who had been observing her for a long time said to her, "I see that you have shown exceptional respect to your deceased husband. I noticed that you don't turn your back when you leave, which is very beautiful." "Well, sir, my husband always used to tell me that I have a behind that could raise the dead from their graves. I don't want to take any chances." A vicar decides to freshen up the church exterior and sets about repainting the whole building. Halfway through, he notices the tin is running low. Not wanting to waste a trip to the hardware shop, he stretches it out by mixing in a generous splash of water. He just manages to cover the last wall when the sky suddenly darkens. Out of nowhere, a torrential downpour begins, and within minutes all the watered-down paint streams off the bricks and into the gutters. As the storm clears, a booming voice rolls down from the heavens. "Repaint and thin no more." An old woman boarded a very old, broken-down bus to travel from her village to the city. The bus was so slow it felt like it wasn't moving, it was crawling. Even people walking on foot were passing it. The old woman was getting very irritated. When the bus finally neared the city, The ticket collector came up to her and said, "Ma'am, please pay your fare." The woman opened her bundle and handed him a child's fare ticket, half fare. The ticket collector looked at the money and angrily said, "Ma'am, what kind of joke is this? Are you a child? You're clearly an elderly woman. You have to pay full fare. Why are you giving half the money?" The woman stared at him, adjusted her walking stick, and replied calmly and seriously, "Son, don't get angry. It's not your fault either. When I boarded this bus in my village, I really was a child back then. It's just that your bus moves so slowly that I became old along the way." A little boy looks up at his dad and asks, "Dad, where did I come from?" The father pauses, sighs, and says, "Well, son, you're old enough to hear the truth. Your mom and I first met online. No face-to-face, just messages flying back and forth. After weeks of typing and emojis, we finally agreed to meet in person at a place with free Wi-Fi. One thing led to another, curiosity turned into connection, and we clicked, literally. Some settings weren't checked, a few protections were skipped, and before anyone could press cancel, the system started running on its own. 9 months later, the dad smiles, a brand new notification appeared that said, "Congratulations, download complete." An 80-year-old woman was arrested for shoplifting. When she went before the judge, he asked her, "What did you steal?" She replied, "A can of peaches." The judge then asked her why she had stolen the can of peaches, and she replied that she was hungry. The judge then asked her how many peaches were in the can. She replied, 6. The judge said, "Then I will give you 6 days in jail." Before the judge could conclude the trial, the woman's husband spoke and asked the judge if he could say something. The judge said, "What is it?" The husband said, "She also stole a can of peas."